to What She Said. Listen, this podcast is subject to turn 12 corners at one time, so I'm going to need you to stay with us, okay? Because we going somewhere. Welcome to What She Said. Hey. That's the little meme on what? TikTok.
Nice to introduce yourself.
Okay, well, yeah. She's like, hey. Yeah, That's that. Hi, I'm Marcy Lynn Jackson. Thank you for joining us. I feel like I am on Channel 8 News. I'm going to throw it to Rachel Matthews.
I am Rachel Matthews, owner of Diva Style Salon. And
I am April Gilbert. I am the owner of Gilbert Properties Group.
Hey y'all, I'm Tish Robertson. I am the owner of Fatima Robertson DDS.
And I'm Marcy Lynn Jackson. Let me come back and say what I'm the owner of.
yes,
Marcy Lynn Jackson LLC. And the Candle Boutique.
Yay.
right here.
All right. Come on, Lashes.
Come on.
They giving out on
So
right
what y'all
away.
do this weekend?
We went to today's Sunday, so let me start on Friday. We went last night what Rachel was talking about was we went to Dion's 50th birthday party, and there was a young lady sitting at the table, and so Marlon, her husband, said, "Okay, so we're gonna continue this turn up because the music was popping. Oh, it was great.
It was good.
It was
We
great.
need
They
the
was
whole
having a really
playlist.
good time.
We need the whole playlist.
Playlist was like." It was
DJ?
everything. I don't even know.
It was just
a
someone that was
really.
there
It was a
playing off
vibe.
his phone.
It was like one of those hands in the air vibes.
party.
At the house.
Show them what you was doing, though, sister.
Oh well.
Sister ain't been out in a while. Show them what you
She
was
was
doing.
twerking.
No,
What was she doing?
rocking.
Rocking.
Like with I was a mother of the church. I was the
was
mother.
rocking.
Baby, I was like this.
Where you fan?
I needed it.
Yes.
I was literally like this. And so I was rocking, and I was facing like her door where you could see your reflection,
Yeah.
and her cousin kind of moved, and I saw my reflection.
Yeah.
I said, why am I rocking like I'm at church? So I told Tracy, just tap on me if you see me do that again.
It's been a minute.
Because I felt like this.
And it was straight twerk music.
I mean, they were really, and they were twerking. They were, the kids. I mean, it was like hands in the air, and it was like, and I was like this.
That's cute.
And I don't even know why, because I really was like, inside I was like, what? And then I was like, I've been reading too many books. I've been studying way too hard because I didn't even know what to do.
I get it.
But I was the mother of the church, honey, sitting on the front row with a big hat on. Told you.
Just
Rock, and my hands was like this, folded, real studious. I could have been the queen of England with my hat on and my pocketbook waving. And so Marlon was like, "Okay, guys, we're gonna do this toast," because they were toasting every 30 minutes. They were taking shots, and so I had my little Coke. I was doing real good, and so he was like, "Okay, y'all gonna everybody, well, not everybody, gonna say something about the birthday
He kind
girl."
of did say everybody.
Yeah. And so then I was like, "Okay, and they was like, we all going as a group."
That was straight.
They always want to do something together.
That was straight. He was like,
Hey.
all the sisters over there in that corner right there. Yeah, come on up.
Come forward.
I was like, yeah.
And so they got up, and
You're
I
not shy.
no, not at all.
This ain't
So
me.
what happened?
Well, what she was talking about was this girl was sitting at the table. She was crying so hard. She was crying so hard. I got Tracy's phone and I went and traced the notes, and I said, she going through something. Because it was tear-jerking what people said about her.
It was.
But she was like,
Just
she
like
was
that.
crying
Yeah.
hard. And then it was over, and they turned
She
the
was
music
still
back up. She
crying.
was still crying. So I was like, sis, you all right? Sis, you all right?
She was going through something.
She wasn't. She did. She said, eventually she did tell us.
Yeah.
And I was like, bingo, because, honey, girl, you
That
need to
was a
go to the
hard
bedroom
cry.
and pray to the altar.
To the house.
You going to church tomorrow?
Yeah, because the mother was sitting right there.
Mother
Yes,
was ready,
she was
though.
ready.
That's why I
She was
couldn't
ready.
twerk. She was pulling on my anointing.
Yes.
I I mean, it worried us because we was like, what is wrong with her? Go sit on the couch, girl. Get from the table with us. I mean, she was crying really hard. It was like a little disturbing.
Oh, wow.
It was hard.
To see her. Like, it was.
She said, all my emotions. She said, I'm going through something. All emotions is just coming up with all this nice things that they had to say about Dion.
I was like, girl, it's going to be okay.
And she partied too hard. That's why she ain't here today.
Oh, she did. Oh, hey, so do you guys know that thing, the little meme on Twitter, not Twitter, TikTok or Instagram right now where it says, where's Latrell?
Yes.
That was them.
I actually put a video together. I need to send it.
You should have gotten the video.
Oh, I did.
Crazy.
Oh, I got it already saved in the drive.
She was turned. And her kids with her.
Oh, wow.
It was a sight to see. I enjoyed
That's
it.
a dancing family. They can all dance.
They were killing it. It was nice. It was nice. It was really good to see her happy. It really was. It did.
Awesome.
It did well. Everybody spoke very well of her. She's a blessed woman. She's a good
block of sisters.
She does. But it was her family, friends, extended family, all spoke well of her, and all, pretty much said the same thing. She's been present.
Yeah.
She showed up for them.
And honestly, that's what you want in your life.
That's right.
It is.
Honey.
Yeah, you want to do a couple things. You want to be able to make impact,
That's right.
but you also want to be able to have people in your corner that think well of you. So at the end of the day,
I know
that's what it
Yeah.
is.
And that's what you guys are to me. I love y'all.
We love you too.
Oh, get out of here, man. All mushy already. Somebody, I need tissue because y'all gonna make me cry. Look at her. That's what y'all mean.
She started it.
And I was playing the music. Someone turned it. I know that's right though. But you know what? This has been the hardest year, but the most it's just been six months. Like we on the 12th today, the 12th, and so I was thinking about that. Like it is the 12th of June. We are in 22, right? Okay, but I guess it would be that like for us as women, it will be hard. Birthing is hard. Labor is hard. But we was just talking about that. He mentioned it today. Bishop mentioned it today in the sermon as I was coming off. He was talking about go ahead and go through the hard thing because once you get on that other side, you won't remember the pain.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You bask in the beauty of what you've given.
Hello?
You bask in that.
Because while you in it, you like, I don't think I'm going to do it. I ain't going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Trembling. In the corner blowing spit bubbles.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing you've had to go through, though?
Who, me? The death of my parents. So far. It's been the hardest thing. That's my barometer. That is what I gauge everything by. You made it through that, Marcy. You can get through this. You did that. You can get through this. I have never felt as low. When I lost so I realized, and I won't take for granted that everyone did not grow up with both parents in the household. Yeah. I did. And so at 42 years of marriage for my parents, and I'm the fifth daughter of Margaret and Stan Jackson. When he was dying, they were married 42 years. And when I lost my father, that it rocked me to my core. And all of my sisters concurred. All of us felt the same way. When our mother died, it just shakes your very existence. It's like you feel the cord, the umbilical cord. You feel the connection to your place in earth, and it makes you question your purpose and like who you are in this earth and everything. You have to reimagine it. I was just telling my sister April now, who has lost her husband after 36 years. I wish that there was someone who had experienced lows like what we had to tell me, Marcy, don't make these permanent decisions in a temporary situation. I had to tell her, like, don't make me come over there and like beat you in your chest. Like, you gonna get through this. But and I say that in all severity, but in all compassion, because everything in you changes and it sticks. I don't care what age. I don't care what age, because from my 5 sisters, I mean, we run the gamut. I'm the youngest, from the oldest to the youngest. There were divorce happened after that, among my sisters and I. I mean, life changed, and what you didn't have the courage to do, you did after that, because nothing took you that low anymore. Sure. Nothing. And it was like a roller coaster. You just had to go with the ride, and it was already in motion. You couldn't get off. You lost your mother.
I did.
Yeah.
And it was.
And don't you agree? It's like a secret society.
It is. You're totally oblivious of what's to come, because your identity, who you relate to, who you go to in those moments of, there's nobody like your mama, right. That you need your mama. But when you get to that point where there's no one to go to, there's nobody to pull on. For me, it was life changing, I believe. And when my mom passed, right after that, there was a series of more deaths in the family that it was just so much. But I do know that for me, my utmost peace, and I tell everybody that I know my mother's with the Lord. Right. And that is the biggest thing that gives me peace.
I know my mom and dad are with the Lord, but that didn't work for me.
It did. Well, for me, it did.
I know. And I like to hear that, like when people say that. But in our reality, as much as I love the Lord, that did not work for me, because I had an unfinished life.
Right.
So what you gonna do in heaven? We need you here.
Right.
That's the selfish side of it.
It is selfish. It is. But
I think for me, because my mother struggled with drug addiction.
Okay.
And so, and she was really, she struggled. And the last 10, 12 years of her life were great. And I saw God do miracles and sustain her. And her prayer was, God, take me when I'm at my very best, because I don't want to go when I'm at my worst. Wow. And he did.
She wanted a chance.
She wanted a chance. And so for me, of course, I wallowed in the floor. I cried. I did everything because it was my mother. But after I got up and dusted myself off, I knew that what she prayed for is what she got, that God received her, and that she finished her race well.
I think we die how we want to, because neither one of our parents, and I say our, meaning my sisters, my blood sisters, because I know people will hear me say sisters on here, and I'm talking about y'all, but my blood sisters, they did not want to be taken care of, and both of them died that way. That it was quick, boom, boom, get to the hospital, mama gone. Right. It was quick, it was dramatic, it was climactic, it was like, oh my God, I'm throwing up. It was crazy. But within the last few weeks, I have literally been on this thing where I looked at myself and I said, you didn't handle that well, Marcy. You didn't handle that well. Yeah. Okay, knowing what I know about now, okay, let me go back. When you go through hardship, one of the things that we do know, do you know the poem Life for Me, Langston Hughes, Life for Me has not, ain't been no crystal stair. Okay, that was a mother talking to a son, about, there's going to be hardship. You will have hardship, but I want you to endure it. And I want you to endure it like this, ... She gave her, and then also going back to the scripture, Proverbs 31 woman, that was a queen talking to her son, the king, who would be the king, saying to him, okay, you're going to be king one day, and because you are human, okay? She's the queen. She's married to a king, and she's saying to her son, you're human. You're going to have shortcomings. You're going to have pitfalls. You're going to need this kind of woman, son. This is the kind of woman you're going to need by your side, the one who can see all of your faults and still get up before day and pray for you and your family and keep your indiscretions. You're going to need her to keep her wits about herself, because she's going to know about things that maybe everyone else don't know, but she can't fall apart because all eyes will be on her.
She's undergirding you.
She has to be able to handle herself, handle her children, and make sure she has your back. Now that sounds unrealistic, but that is the role of the woman. And so that queen was telling her son, when you take on your new role, you're going to need this kind of woman. So if you put that principle up against how things may have happened, if I were to put it up against the principle of how things would have happened in my life, I did not keep my wits about myself when things happened. I did not stand up under that level of pressure. And that's what the queen was saying to her son. This is the woman that you need to marry. She has to be able to still fulfill her duties. And in my mind, I let them all go.
But I think that it still leaves room for error.
It does, because you do need to forgive yourself. But and God is the redeemer of time. He is the redeemer of time. And do I feel guilty or condemned at this point? Not at all. But am I having to go play catch up? Yes. And if I were to see someone in my position right now, would I allow them to go by way of what I did? No.
I don't know, Marcy. I don't know that I agree with that. I think that...
See, look at it this way. Because you may not. Because it may look like I'm being hard on myself. But I knew something. Yeah. No. It's not a way where I feel there was an alternative. Mm-hmm. It was an alternative. Mm-hmm. And in that alternative, there was a way that I could have handled something that I was actually at that time I knew about, but I didn't hold on to. And so let's say I'm looking at a situation now, and I'm saying to myself now, you're not gonna go that way anymore. Uh-huh. You're gonna stand flat foot. You're not going to give up under pressure. You're not gonna bend under pressure. And it sounds harsh to say out loud to someone else, but it is no different than a coach saying at halftime, get your head in the game. In your practice, you have been taught, you have been given everything that you needed, and under pressure at the shot clock is not the time to fold.
But Marcy, you didn't fold. You bent. Mm-hmm. You didn't break.
No. I'm not talking about breaking, because if I broke, I wouldn't, there would have been no rebound or no recovery. I didn't break. But, I'm not going to call it breaking. It wasn't a breaking. But I got to figure out a way to articulate it well to you, to help you understand that in the compassion of myself and being able to be lenient with myself and forgiving towards myself, I am not speaking about what I did in the past. It's no different than if I played a game and I'm looking at the old tapes of those games, and I'm preparing for this other game, and I'm looking at all the things that I did, and at this point now I'm saying, all right, I'm ready. Put me in the game, coach, because yes, I got up to the free throw line. I looked and I saw all that I was up against, and I fumbled, but I'm back at that free throw line, and I'm not gonna fumble this time. You have to be able to assess damage, and you have to have enough courage to look at your mistakes and call them that. You have to call them the mistake, or you won't reprogram your brain to not go that way again, because trust me, it's muscle memory. It's comfortable to do that. But you have to tell yourself that I'm looking at it this way. I am, okay, same spirit, different day, same demon. And let me just say this, same demon, but it's stronger. It's much stronger than maybe what you faced back then. And so you have to be able to be honest with yourself to say, all right, I've faced you before. didn't do well when I faced you before, when I saw you before. I didn't do well. And maybe I didn't know all that I know now, and life needed to catch up with me. I've always called myself a flower that bloomed in winter. I've always been that. You know, I bloomed in adversity. Most people in America is said to have, you know, when you capture the American dream, I know for our culture it's not necessarily that, but I bloomed in adversity, and adversity being comfortable for me. When you get to the point to where adversity takes you too low, then you want comfort, you want peace, but sometimes that's not the way that you would go. So you have to be able to tell yourself, it's not going to work this way, Marcy. You are going to have to lean in to your reality. At that time, it was the reality of my parents passing, and I let a lot of stuff go. But if here I am now saying, all right, you have to be able to look at yourself. Do you procrastinate? Are you lazy? Do you are you isolating yourself? Are you operating in depression? Is anxiety taking over you? You got to assess that. And if that is the case, and that has become, it's food, your drug of choice, whatever the case may be, you got to look at that and be honest with yourself and say, you know what? You did turn to those things. You didn't look at, you may have looked at the Lord, and he didn't condemn you. He was that footprint in the stand. That's what I love about him. He didn't condemn me when I just let it all go. He didn't, and he said, I'll redeem the time when she's ready. But when I look back over it, if there was someone who would have said, Marcy, you're not going to always be here, and helped me see that, it would have been different.
So do you believe that you needed to have maybe a grief counselor at that point? Do you feel as though you didn't depend on your sisters more, your blood sisters? Do you believe you had a circle of girlfriends that you needed to depend on more? What was it that drew you out of that and made you turn the corner and realize the things that you have been doing through the grief process?
You know what? I don't know if it's been necessarily anyone else other than me being tired of seeing the same fight.
Okay.
And so, because life is not going to slow down for you or no one.
Right.
And so when you get tired enough, you'll start seeking an alternative. And I think the Lord has allowed me to be on this
insanity, right?
To be on this treadmill, and here I am. I'm just going, and I'm wondering, where are the results? People I pray for get results. Why am I not getting results? What am I seeing? What am I doing? What am I saying? You know, and so for me, it is in this stage. If it's like a knowing that I gotta look at this different. I have to see this different, and then a knowing of, I guess that may come with maturity, knowing that what it is that I'm dealing with, there is another way, and I need to find it.
April, how did you get through it?
I think just for me, just kind of connecting to people who I knew loved me, that could help sustain me, that I knew would pray for me, that I knew would just allow me to come and just, grab me in their arms and just love on me. I think for me, I guess the difference for me was that I struggled when my mother was alive, because especially when she was going through her addiction period, there were times where I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if she was dead, alive, in a ditch. And so growing up with that, with all of the uncertainty and everything just hanging in the air where you don't know, that was traumatic for me, because we just never knew. I would see her leave, and we would just wait. And we wait. Has anybody heard from Mama? Have you heard? Nobody's heard. And, there were times where I had gotten so bad that we had to buy her back, because she was kidnapped. So we had to buy her back from a drug dealer. And so it was going through that up and down of not knowing and just uncertain of if she would be alive one day, if something would happen, if she would, overdose. That was just this huge roller coaster. And I would watch my grandparents and my great grandparents just be like, what am I going to do with my child? Mm-hmm. And so when she got clean and straight, and I kind of watched her life unfold, it said to me that, God is bigger than anything that I could possibly imagine, because I never thought I would see my mother be clean. I never thought I would see her, be happy, be able to cut ties, because she'd gone through it for so long. It completely destroyed her body. I mean, she was a mess. But the last 10 years of her life, it was great. Mm-hmm. It was truly great. And the last time I saw my mother was my 40th birthday party. Mm-hmm. And she was really happy, and it was my brother and sister and I. We were all here, and we just really loved on one another. And I remember her birthday was in November, and I said, Mom, we're going to bring you here, and you're going to come to Texas and be with us for Thanksgiving and all of that. And her birthday was on November 5th. I was flying back. We were out of town, and she died on November 9th. And it shook me that because it was just sudden. It was just like that. She was in church, she was singing, praising God, sat down and died in her seat. And it rocked me, because my thing was, oh my God, she's supposed to be coming for Thanksgiving, and all of this time I hadn't seen I normally wouldn't go that long without seeing my mother. So I went from February to November, and that was unusual because I never went that long without seeing her. And so all of these things just kept running in my head about just time and everything. So I remember leaving Dallas, flying to Atlanta. I wanted to see her. I just needed to see her. And I remember going into that hospital, and they fixed her up for me. And I went in there and I saw her, and she had a smile on her face.
Don't play too much now. Mm-hmm.
She had a smile on her. I said to my sister, I said, she's smiling. She said, I know. That gave me so much peace and comfort, because I knew she was where she wanted to be and where she needed to be. And yes, it hurt to not be able to call her, to not be able to hear her voice, to not be able to feel her embrace and her beautiful soft skin. But I had the most peaceful reaction when I saw her. And I said, God, despite what I'm feeling, you still did it for us. Mm-hmm. Despite what this is, despite this pain, you still, even in this, you're taking care of us. Yeah. And that is what helped me get through all of that. I cannot, she literally was smiling.
I think, it is how it finishes. When that story unfolds, is how it finishes. At that time when my mother and father passed, I was just starting life, really, pretty much living. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of accomplishments I knew they would not see. When they died, I was not married. I did not have children. Now, my sisters were. Mm-hmm. But I think it's that time stamp you know. And so you go through all of the firsts without them, and you look for them. Like if your mother, and even if she wasn't or he wasn't that person, it's still that connection, that motherly or fatherly connection that you look for when you go through things, or you have this really big accomplishment in your life. Oh, I want to tell my mother, you know, or I want to talk to my dad, you know, I want to see what he thinks about this. If that was the connection that you had or wanted, then that's what you would always return to, you know, when you go through those milestones in life. And it is the most painful feeling when you get there and they are not there on this side of heaven, you know? And so I think it's that selfishness that causes you to say that they, you know, and it kind of keeps you right there. But I don't think you could be selfish with yourself in that way, because you still have to move forward. You still have to live.
You do.
Because we are all called to a purpose in some greater good. You know, that's what keeps us. You know that I've been, I know you guys know the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The top of the needs is self-actualization, our purpose in life. We need that. That's our highest need above shelter and anything else, is to have purpose on this earth. And connecting that, you know, with the loss of my parents, that's what I mean when I say I did that wrong. Because if you forsake your purpose, then you are dwarfing a lot of things in your life, because your life is still going to go on whether you stop or not.
So now I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I initially thought you were being really hard on yourself.
It sounds like it.
But what you're actually saying is that you stopped living. Like, you stopped doing anything.
I did the very bare minimum.
Bare
So if you
minimum.
saw
Just to
me,
maintain
you
life.
breathing.
Yeah.
Breathing.
Well, let me ask you this.
But no progression.
Right. Okay.
And it looked like it.
Now I understand what you were saying.
It looks like progression, but it's no progression.
But had you not taken that path or that road, because you took that path and that road, it shaped you, and you made decisions, and you changed patterns in your life to be where you are now. So had someone told you, would it have been the same, or would it have been, you know, better? Because I'm thinking that because you gleaned on your own and you got it yourself, ain't nobody gonna take that from you. Because it isn't
So
right.
y'all wanna go? Let's go here.
Yeah.
Put me in the game, coach.
What she said. What she said.
So let's go here. You know what that is? You guys by now dealing with me, you know spiritual warfare, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And have you ever heard people say, "Oh, say you should have killed me then. Let me get up." It's gonna be on and popping, right? And so that was an attack. And so, yes, did it shape me to where I am right now? Of course. God leaves nothing on the table, all right? He's going to use everything.
Everything.
And all of it to work together for your
the
good.
Exactly.
However, let's call it what it is. It was an attack. I do have purpose. I do have a call, and my call is, a lot of people are attached to it. So if I can get her down, if I can change her direction, I better do it right now.
Right.
Because if she get up, if she really gets up, and there are times that I've gotten up on a knee, I've gotten up on another knee, but I'm talking about if I stood up.
Yeah.
I got you.
If I stand up,
Better watch out.
It's over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about right now. Where, okay, so let's just go here. So do you know okay, so you guys know of the scripture where, and I know people probably wondering, like, is this rehearsed? Yeah, this is how we talk, okay?
It is.
It's how we talk. So here it is. So you know the scripture when they was coming over, he said, well, let us go on over to the other side. And he gets to the other side, and there was a man there who was just like wreaking havoc, and he was demon possessed.
Yeah.
And so the demon said to Jesus, they called him the Son of Man. They knew who he was.
Yeah.
They
right?
did,
And
yeah.
he said, the demon said to Jesus, you cast us out this man, but please don't make us leave this territory. And Jesus, being who he is in all his splendor and grandeur, was like, all right, you going to the swine. And the swine went into the water and killed himself because the demon that was attacking the man was so strong. On the man didn't die. He was fighting with that, wrestling with that, existing, breathing, right? But what was holding him down and oppressing him or possessing him at that time was so strong. When they ran into the pig, the swine went and drowned themselves. And so so that's spiritual warfare, because it wasn't about the man, it was about the territory, the influence. And so if I can stop Marcy from getting up, I can stop her influence. I can stop her from conquering territory and making ground. Because for me, it always seems as though there's something weighing me down, something holding me back, whether it was, how I thought about something. And then when God gave me the revelation and I saw it for what it was something that was stopping me from seeing the reality of the thing. And so, what needed to happen at that time is that, for me, there was no one there who could say that to me.
Right.
Unless they had more spiritual discernment than I to be able to see what it was I was up against, because it looked like grief, felt like grief, grief tasted like grief, but it wasn't. It was an attack to stop me.
It was an attack to stop your influence. Have you ever taken the time to really consider, just of the four of us, and I'm not trying to make a big to-do out of any one of us individually or collectively, but what I will say is that in this group of women, we do have a lot of influence on the things that people see, the things that people think about us, the way that people are attached to our lives, how we help people, how we assist people, how we walk through life and we don't even know what influence we have on other people. Have you ever stopped to really take the time to really consider that? I mean, I'm not even talking about social media influence. I'm talking about just you as a person, you as a mother, a wife, a friend, a next door neighbor. Just when people see you, have you really stopped to take the moment to consider how, when people look at you, how they want to be like you, or they want to have some part of you that is, I don't know, I'm trying to formulate the question. Have you ever considered your level of influence? Does that make a difference in the decisions that you make? Have you,
I haven't. I have not, but but now that you're bringing it up, I would say probably in the last maybe month or so that I've really started to pay attention, because, before I used to be like, some things was just a little weird and a little stalkerish. And then I was like, oh, wow, they really are, they're inspired.
They gravitate to you.
And they gravitate to you. And so I just had to learn to just be okay. But, before it was just over the years of all the different attacks that came on my life, I was like, I don't know if I want to
open yourself up.
And so I wouldn't open myself up. And so now, probably in the last month or so, I've learned to just be okay. And I know that God has me. He's going to protect me. But yeah, I would say probably in the last month or so, I've really started to pay attention and just be okay.
And settle into that. I mean, I watched your social media. I've watched you settle into that.
Yeah.
I watched how you just rest in it now. And you're okay.
Because I'm okay with me.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've become okay with me.
That's right.
Yeah. And just being around you guys, just to kind of piggyback, when you guys were talking about your parents, I come from a 2-parent household. However, my parents was not always available to me because I'm the youngest, like Marcy, number 5. But it's a 13-year gap. I wasn't supposed to be here, My mom tubes was tied and all of those things. So
You supposed to
the
be
random kid, So I think by the time I came, they was tired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On, they old, probably. What the millennials consider old now. They think old is 40, 45. But so my dad was doing whatever. My mom, she worked all the time because So it was like I felt like I was raising myself, and so I developed a lot of resentment to them as I got older because I realized, just being around you guys, some of the things that I missed out on. Like only time they came to my school was if I got into trouble. Come get me out of what they call it,
Detention.
or something.
Yeah.
The only way I was, you know what I'm saying?
It was fight,
You know what
Rachel.
I'm saying? But I made really
Were
good
you over
grades.
fighting?
Oh yeah, fighting. But I was very quiet in school.
Oh.
Right, Natasha. I was very quiet. But so I didn't only when I had to defend myself. But that was the only time that they were even involved. Like they never asked like for my report cards or anything. So I just went through life noonie. Well, at 18 when I graduated, that's when they parted ways. So moved away to California, and I didn't realize how much resentment that I had to them until in the last couple of years, to where it's like I didn't enjoy being around them because they were so negative and this and this and that. And so just a couple of years ago, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to meet them where they're at, and I'm just going to be okay because they have less time ahead. And, so I didn't want to be punished because of how I treated them. But I did find myself, like, I listen to other people, and they be like, oh, I talk to my mom every day. No, I don't want to talk to my mom every day because when I talk to her, she's negative. It's something as simple as she called yesterday morning, and I was hooking some lights up, and she said, what kind of lights you putting up now? and I just said, good morning.
Gertrude.
Good morning. Because, and then I had to realize, well, maybe nobody taught you how to be positive. So now me and my daughter, when she talks to us, we go ahead and call her out on it. You're being negative. And so that's why nobody wants to talk to you. I know you miss your children, but a lot of times we just pull back because it's always just fussy. And I'm like, you just fuss all the time. Granted, my dad, he doesn't fuss all the time, but like I said, he wasn't available. He was doing his thing, a lot of infidelity. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence. My parents, my family, that's all they did was fight. So, that's where I got it from, and then I had to heal myself. But, so I just had to learn to be okay and just meet them where they at because...
And realize that your parents are people, too.
They are. Yeah.
They're faulty, right?
They are.
And so it ain't always been like that, but that's what has helped me over the years to just be okay. That's just who you are, and I'm going to just meet you where you at. I'm going to start to look at the glass half full versus half empty and just do my part and just, just speak positivity in your life, so you can start seeing life different, because I want them to enjoy whatever time that they have left here and just be okay.
And you may be the one to heal your mother.
I'm fine. I moved my parents in together. My dad is 80 and my mom is 75.
Funny
And
that is really funny.
I was like, if I got to help both of y'all going to have to move together.
Yeah.
Get it
It's a package deal.
Yes, it's a package deal. And they can't stand each other. It's funny.
2 for 1.
That is funny.
That's what's funny.
That
I
is
was
funny.
like, y'all just kiss and make up.
That's
Oh,
funny.
Y'all ain't dating nobody else.
Get out of my room.
Get out. Yeah.
That's funny.
And
That
so,
is funny.
I love them. But, and also the stories like April and, she's so close to her sister and brother.
Yeah.
And Marcy, like in you. Oh, yeah. Like, I don't have those memories. Yeah. So I create those memories with you guys. You guys, God has gave me you guys, to help me in those areas of where I need to be and to grow and to become the woman that I am today. Granted, a lot of the things that I experienced in life growing up has shaped me today, but I didn't see it then. And but it's actually evolved into something like who I am today, and I'm grateful that God got me through it. But also, you asked Marcy, like, what is one of the hardest things that she had to go through in life? Mine was my marriage. I felt like my marriage was attacked, and that was about.
You didn't feel like it. Your marriage was.
Well, it was. Well, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Call it what it is.
Yeah.
We've been together now. Finna be 17 years, and
Come on.
together for 22. But early into the marriage, we were attacked, and I know it was because I thought he was perfect. you know, I looked at him like, you're just the best thing since sliced bread. And God said, huh, no.
He was your God.
You looking at him more than you looking at me.
Yeah. He's your
So let me
God.
go ahead and bring him on down. And that's what he did. He brought him off of that pedestal. And at the time, you know, you don't know that really what's happening is for you to get the message. Oh, you see it. You know what I'm saying? And so we went through that. And then, you know, 5 years ago, I met Marcy. And she helped me to see things different and to just seek God and no longer look at him and what he was doing. And granted, it went both ways. You know, I made some mistakes. He made mistakes or whatever. But it was like that tit for tat thing. You did, I'm going to do it. You did, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pay you back, you know. And so I had to just say, okay, God, I'm just going to let you deal with him. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to play with you for a little while. And then we're going to see where this goes.
Let's go.
And granted, I am, all of that fruit is here today. You know, like it was always a time where either I was here, he was here, or he was here and I was here. And now we're here. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for Marcy, you guys listen. Y'all let me holler, scream, cry, fall out, pass out, slide down the wall.
Snot.
Marcy say, blow spit
snot.
bubbles.
But
You know, because you can't see what's at the end
You
for
can't.
you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But 3 years ago, God just had to deal with him and humble him in a lot of ways. And he was, you know, going through his own things too because, you know, of the lack of his family, his mom, and, you know, not trusting women because his mom wasn't there, you know, in his life. So who am I for him to trust? So you just, I think for him, he was always looking for, I want you to love me. I want you to love me too. I want you to love me too. But I got this over here. But just in case this don't work out, I got somebody else to love me. I really think that's what he was battling. But he lost his job of 35 years, 30 at the time, 34
He got
years.
accused of.
He got accused.
Some false
It was
accusations.
false accusations. But I just felt like that was his time, and God just dealt with him and had to bring him down, and he had to just sit back, and the only person he saw was me, you know. But I had been trying to, you know, kind of help him over the years, you know. I'm not that same 25-year-old woman that you met.
God, yes.
You know what I'm saying? I have been renewed. You know, I am walking in my purpose, but it was,
I
he
think for
never
him,
trusted
he thought
that.
He thought that. Well, I don't want to tell your story.
No, you
but
can't.
Just like outside
Absolutely.
looking in,
Absolutely.
I think like most people, they feel as though, well, you only seeking God to get me together.
Yeah.
What when Rachel said, as far as my relationship with her and anybody else that I have, is for you to have the relationship. So if that did fall out, you're still going to be standing because you have the life raft. And so I think I remember him saying, you guys telling me that when that happened, because his job was his pride. When that happened, his mom said, "Oh, she gonna leave you now."
Wow.
And he even said to me, I've hurt you. I've done a lot of things to you. And he's a great guy. I just think he was battling with some things, you know.
He is.
And he said, you can go. Because I know you're not finna stay with me through all of this. Watch me. Watch me work. And so I just said, sit back. I got you. And so it was just a humbling cry. Like he would go out, guys, like, you know, he been with 30, like I said, UPS for over 30-some years. He was out there Ubering. He would call me, babe, I made $100. I was like, oh, wait.
I'm finna go get my phone.
You been gone for 12 hours and you come back with $100.
Fill up the gas tank. Piece of bread now.
But you know, but
Bring me some McDonald's. Yeah.
but I realized that, you know, he's a
Call
man.
your Uber.
Yeah.
Go get us something to eat.
Yes.
And then stay here so we can talk. Good grief. Where did you go? Well, I'm gonna go out to the airport.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, and he would be so
When I tell you
excited.
that encouraged me to see.
Yeah.
that. Like he was so broken.
Yeah.
You know, but it encouraged me to see that in his humility,
Yes.
he still walked upright like a man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he still. I'm finna go get my phone bill.
I'm finna go get my phone bill.
I mean,
And I at first I was like, what? I was like, oh, okay. I'm proud of you, babe. That's good. You're doing good. But I realized, is this man, it's manhood or whatever,
Yeah.
it's pride, or
Yeah.
just, like she said, walking up straight. It's like, I'm a man. I still got to
That's right.
bring something to the table. Granted, being with UPS for so long, he still had money that he just didn't want to touch. So he was okay, but not okay.
Right.
Because you got walked out in front of your peers and all of these things, for something that wasn't even true. Granted, he got his job back and he had the opportunity to start multiple businesses, but in the midst of that, he got a chance to see me in my heart and know that that I supported him, that I wasn't going to leave him through all of that. I could have walked away, but I didn't. And so I know you guys were there. I think you guys were there when he gave his speech. Like it was just so powerful.
It was.
And so now we are taking what we went through and we're helping other couples. And so I know that it was for us to go through all of that to now be able to share that and help other couples get through their processes and get to the other side. And so
Because God used every piece.
Everything.
and it's just been
Nothing
amazing.
goes
Like
waste.
I don't know.
you know, I remember which Christmas was it? Some years ago. It was when we did the gingerbread houses.
Oh,
That was at your
Yes.
house.
At your house.
yeah.
Yeah, that's your house.
Y'all remember where we were then? Like, do you remember where? I remember where every one of us, where we were going through in our lives at that table.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so like we would get together and do these Christmases,
Girlfriends,
girlfriends, Christmas, sleepover,
slumber party.
Yeah.
Matching pajamas.
Matching
Oh,
pajamas.
yeah.
Yep. Oh,
Like
yeah.
all the
Names on
rubber
the bottom.
Yeah, name.
I mean, and I just remember where all of us was, and I remember specifically Tish
Yeah.
shocking us
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah.
And we was like, we don't want to do no gingerbread house.
Yeah.
We started
Move
eating
the gingerbread house.
we started eating the gingerbread house.
Yeah, we like, what's going on?
What you say?
Yeah.
And the girl took my candy out the gingerbread house. Like, what she say? Yeah.
Cause she's always been real low key,
Smiling.
You be over there,
Smiling
you be
and
over there
laughing.
crying, and she laughing. She like just bust out laughing. I be
Tish,
like,
this happened to me.
be like, Tish.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
defense mechanism. I can't.
She did. She was like, that girl laughed at me. I was like, what? She laughed at me. I'm just crying. And she like, what?
Yeah.
Tish.
What? Why you laughing
But
at me?
you know what it always seems like? It's almost like, girl.
It's a bit of social awkwardness,
Yes.
if I must say, because I was like, I can't go there. I have to. It's just
Tish
me.
gonna laugh. She gonna laugh.
She gonna laugh.
She is gonna
gonna
laugh.
laugh.
It's funny, but I
Yes.
do remember that time. I think what threw me off was you was smiling so pretty,
She was.
telling us the worst time of your life.
Yeah. Absolutely was. And I think even in that was not the toughest thing that I have gone through. I think there are two things that I've gone through, actually. One of them was the birth of my youngest son with his chronic illness. Just to share a little bit of the story, he has a form of sickle cell. So in all of my education, just in all of my biology and genetics experience, I had no idea that a blood disorder that I have and a blood disorder that my husband has, we both have a trait of a blood disorder. Those two would combine and form a form of sickle cell in my son. You guys, I'm going to tell you, at that 2-week newborn screen is when we got the information that there was something going on with him. I remember I had just opened the practice in March of 2006. He was born in May of 2006. So on that 2-week screen, I had done some marketing. I was on my way back from Sherman. The doctor calls me on the phone and said, hey, you need to get your son to a hematologist, to a specialist, because da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, what? Are you calling the right person? Who is this? Yeah, we're calling the right person. This is your son. He has this. He's been diagnosed. You need to get him. He's a social worker. He needs a hematologist, oncologist. All I knew about that was a hematologist is a blood disorder specialist, and an oncologist is a cancer specialist. Yeah. Well, okay, so what do you mean? So gathered my thoughts, couldn't really figure out how to see my way out of it. remember, I opened the practice in March of 2006. He was born in May of 2006. This is 2 weeks after he was born that I find this out. So I got a new practice, a new house, 3 kids, a husband, a job, a life, all this. All came crashing down in a matter of a 5-minute phone call. I go into my GYN just for my 6-week post-op, and she sits in front of me, knee to knee, eyeball to eyeball. She's like, I hear something's going on with your son. Tell me about it. How are you doing? And I busted out crying. Mm-hmm. She sits back and she grabs a tissue and she hands it to me and she said, now tell me what's on your mind. So I tell her, I just through the tears, I'm bubbling, I'm crying, I'm trying to figure out, am I going to have postpartum depression? Am I going to be able to see my way out of this? Am I going to fall apart? Am I just going to back off this practice? Am I just going to go home, take care of him? What is his life going to be like? Because, Google is out and I'm looking at all these things and I had
Google
already, I Googled that to death.
Yeah.
Right. I had done that already. And she sits back and she lets me cry. And she said something to me. She's like, in my practice, I have to tell people at least 2 times a week, 3 times a week maybe, that they have a cancer that's probably going to take them away from here. And, sometimes they beat it, sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. She said, but I have to tell them that their life may be coming to an end. She said, you, on the other hand, have a child who has all of his reasonable cognitive ability. He has 10 fingers, 10 toes. He can blink his eyes, move his head, move his feet, do all these other things. And for you to sit here and to tell me that you're falling apart because he has something that could potentially do something to him, or maybe shorten his life a little bit, or maybe even not shorten his life a little bit, for you to sit here and tell me those things, it's not fair. Wow. She says, so get your things together.
Got you together.
Or I'm going to put you on Prozac. And so I said, okay. So I stopped crying. Yeah. And I got my life together.
Yeah.
She was like, now we're going to sign you up for some counseling. We'll give you some medication if we need to, but you're going to get your stuff together. And do you guys know? She died with an incurable breast cancer last August.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Spooner. But she got me all the way together. That was one of the toughest times of my life. One of the toughest times of my life. And he is living, breathing, surviving, not having any issue with anything. Praise God. Honestly, praise God. But it is something that I think about all the time. It is a storm. It was a storm for me. That took me about 2-3 years to come out of. It really was. I had to battle my way through that. Mm-hmm. The second thing that was tough for me was that my mother and I have a good relationship, seemingly, on the outside. But for whatever reason, there's always a little bit of turmoil. And I think it's because we're so much alike, to be quite honest. But recently, my mother had some surgery. She had some back surgery. And she lost the ability to walk kind of overnight. 2 things happened in that surgery, though. It was very difficult to wake her up. They didn't know if she'd had a stroke during surgery. Okay? So she wakes up, and she's not able to walk. She's not able to ambulate, get around like she used to. As a matter of fact, one whole side of her body is still numb on the right side. Do you know that I had to realize, just in the blink of an eye, all that strife that was between me and my mother? I had to see her from another set of eyes. I had to see her with compassion. I had to see that she is a person and that she has tried her very best. She has given me everything that she could possibly give me, all the tools, with all the tools that she had in her toolbox. Yeah. If she didn't give me this or that, it's not her fault. It's now my decision to make up for what I didn't receive, to gather it for myself. But she did everything that she could with what she had. And so when you say that about your mom, when I say you just have to realize that your parents are people too, I did. I had to realize that my mother is a person, and that whatever tools she didn't have to help me with my pain, she just didn't have it. Now,
I feel that.
I'm fixing it, just in a matter of 2 weeks.
Wow. Because there's no manual.
There isn't.
There's no manual at all how to raise your kids. And you do the best that you can with what you have. I've experienced that with my kids. I found myself doing the same thing with my children, just giving them stuff, but maybe not necessarily being emotionally there for them. And so just finding out in the last couple of years that they deal with anxiety and I don't think really depression, but maybe just a little anxiety, both of them. I was like, where y'all get that from?
Yeah.
You know, is that like a learned behavior? You know, like Marcy had to like really kind of like teach me about it, because I was like, no, just go to God, you'll be okay. You know,
Yeah.
you just pray, you'll be okay. And that's how I really saw it. And I was like, oh no, it's real, you know. But I've always been strong and just felt like I've had to just kind of fight through everything. So I never really experienced the anxiety of didn't think I did, but it was just like I just had to walk up straight and be like, I can deal with it, or I'll get through it, you know, or I'll just walk away from it, you know. I'm good at that, just putting stuff over on the back burner and just kind of walking away. But I was like, no.
You know, it's like, if I can describe it like this, because I don't know if it's about a weakness versus it's your body's response to something happening. So like, you know, if your teeth chatter because you're cold, you know, it's your body's response to the cold. So it doesn't make the person weak or not. It's their body's response. And sometimes it could be set on by trauma. And so where in the beginning, you know, their natural response, of course, you know, we have like fight or flight, and they had the natural response to fight, and withstand, and have long suffering, and become resilient. But then there's a time in their life or our lives where there may be something that overwhelms us more.
Yeah.
Then the defense mechanism for your body to survive becomes anxiety. And it's this response of the cold. Your body shivers because you're cold. Anxiety surfaces because now your body's trying to regulate its response to whatever happened. And it's overwhelmed. All systems are overwhelmed.
I suffer with anxiety. Yeah, I do. I suffer with anxiety, and I think it's high.
When did you feel it first? Was it with your son, like, or was it always there? Were you a nervous child? Like, when did it come on?
It surfaced in college for me. It surfaced in college because I was away from home. That was a new experience for me. That was dating a young man when it didn't go well. That was coming of age. That was hormonally driven. That was studying till the wee hours of the morning, not having a social life. It was just not a lot of sleep. It was just high performing anxiety. It was just, I'm the oldest girl. I got to take care of my parents. I got to get this done because I got to be a role model. It's just a lot of pressure. And it's not pressure that was applied to me from the outside. It was pressure from within. It's pressure I gave myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that does translate into, okay, my children. I don't want to let them too far out of my sight. Or I was like putting a swings. I did this. Put a swing set in the backyard, but I put it in front of the window. The kids couldn't go over here. On the swing set in front of the window,
so I can keep my
keep my eye on. But that's how it. But that's how it worked out.
Yesterday, my sister, we was walking through the store, and a little boy comes up to his mom, and he says to his mom, she looking in a swimsuit. We was at Target. She looking in a swimsuit. She never looked up to him. Mom, a little boy. Mom, can I go all the way over there? But if you need me, call me. She said, and she just kept looking. I said, what he didn't realize is he said all the way.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah.
Disqualified it.
Yes.
all the way.
All the way.
She can't see you.
No.
All the
I
way.
can't see you.
I cannot see you.
Yeah.
I gotta be able to see you. And he was like, Mom, all right. I'll take care of you. Got us. But she couldn't see him. You know, so then the way we start to respond to even what we tell ourselves, because that anxiousness comes from what those possibilities are. So we start going through those possibilities in our head. Well, what if this happens?
Absolutely.
Then your body started to shiver to the core.
Yeah. Because you run it all the way down. If I do this, that's the result.
Stole, and then it's oh my God, and the Amber Alert, and in your mind,
And I'm
you got your
kidnapped,
kids
and I'm in the back of a car.
Yeah.
in some sex trafficking.
You in Mexico?
In Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. The baby just want to go You looking at your swimsuits, I want to go look at the toys.
That's it. That's all there is. That's all there is.
I just think that we tell ourselves these stories, and so it is not, I'm going through a reprogramming right now. I don't care how, it's like, when you do the same job and you do it over and over and over again, it becomes like muscle memory. But then there are some times where there's an anomaly that comes through and it gets you off track, right?
Sure.
And then you adjust to that. But you really are off track. You are in an alternative universe, an alternate universe that is and you learn to function again. Have y'all heard that story about the roast where the daughter called her mama and the mom and she was like, "Mom, how to make this roast?" And the mama said, "Well, get a small pan." And the mom tells the baby, "Okay, cut the roast.
Yeah, cut the end off
Cut
of it.
the ends off of it. Put it in there and bake it. Do it this way and all of that." And the mom's like, "Well, why we gotta do that?" "I don't know. Grandmother told me to do that."
Yeah.
And then they find out that they do it that way because it didn't help the roast taste better. It was because the grandmother had a small pan. There was an anomaly that happened and they adjusted.
Yeah.
That wasn't the ingredients, that wasn't the recipe. And if you readjust at some point in your life, or like take the time to kind of, reevaluate and assess your life and kind of do that inventory of your life. It's like letting you have to know when to let go of sandbags or when to tell yourself you handled that wrong. Fumbled, Marcy. It's okay. You fumbled. And so I know we opened with that, but that's where I was when I opened. It's that reassessment of saying you did that wrong. And here this demon is again, and it's a little stronger. Or here you are again, and I need you to go higher. And on this level, the last time you even looked at something remotely close to this is what happened. So you getting back in this game, this time I need you to conquer it because you're not 36, 26, 16, you're 46. And you need to be able to move forward. Other people are attached.
What she said.
She said.
So, in that when I opened with that and I said I fumbled, and it does sound harsh, but it's my story to everybody. I am being to myself what I am to other people if I feel like you need to hear something different. I'll do a kick door. I know y'all know about those.
Yes.
Kick my own door in.
That's right.
I have. And so, where there are times, sister called and was like, "Well, what?" When you just feel like,
What she say?
yeah.
What she say?
It's stupid hell. And where you throwing some kind of fit because it's not happening how you wanted it to happen. And you get done with that fit, and then you have to be told, get up, keep going. Keep going. Anyway, I remember having to tell someone, she said her mom died, and I said, you gotta keep going. You have to keep going. You cannot stop. You cannot stop here. It's desolate. You really do. You have to let the dead bury the dead. She's gone. And there's still work to do in your own life. So I know that we have been going.
We have.
We can. That's why we do sleep.
We do. That's why we do sleepovers.
That's why we do sleepovers.
Yes.
Exactly.
With food and pajamas.
With food and pajamas.
Matching pajamas.
Matching.
How long we been doing this? How long have we been talking?
Oh.
Probably over an hour. And we could probably go 2 or 3 more hours.
2 or
That's how
3
it is
more
when we
hours,
get together.
It is.
But, we want to thank Sid
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
believing in us. He's been trying to get this done for quite some time.
Quite some time.
And it was
Thank
just
you
hard.
so much.
Everybody, we're all busy. We have lives, and we're entrepreneurs, and so we don't always get a chance to. Somebody have to do this, and somebody have to do that, and we're like, nope, we're just gonna wait for everybody. And finally, we're here. It's our very first podcast. What she said.
What she said.
What she said.
And so we know that this is gonna be the first of many because I enjoyed this.
Amen.
Like
I did.
This
I
was
did.
like real therapy.
Cathartic.
It was very
Yeah.
very
Cried.
cathartic.
We ain't slang snot though.
We ain't slaying no.
Not
Not
yet.
too bad.
Not too
Not
bad.
too bad.
It was like a little
Well,
right
just a
there.
little,
It was
just
maybe
a
my
little.
It's not
Yeah.
that it's not. Hey, it's not that it's not coming.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Oh,
it's.
it's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
It's coming.
I can't wait to say this podcast was brought to you by.
Absolutely.
Jesus.
What she
What
said.
she said.
What
'Cause
she
that's what we
said.
do. That's what we do. One of the things that I do enjoy about all of us is that there's always something to learn. You know, we didn't get into business, which is what we will do, because every last one of us, you know, have businesses, you know, families. So we have families, we have businesses, school, just everyday life and how we do it. You know, I'm grateful to have met all of you to be able to do life with you. I do think that you just need a good, you know, you need relationships. I learned this early. I say it all the time. You need people, and you don't always get to decide who those people are.
It's true.
You don't. You have to accept. Just accept
true.
them. So, what she said.
What she said.
Thank you, ladies. I
Love you.
Love you guys.
Love you. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Can you guys smell the candles?
Yes.
Damn.
That's girls' trip.
It's beautiful.
Smells really good.
It does.
And
I need to get some.
how about this charcuterie board? I sure say.
Let's
that
get
wrong.
into it.
Let's
I
get
know it.
into
I
it.
know it.
So our next one, like we didn't even plan any of this. This really just kind of came off the cuff, right?
It
But
did.
next time, like we really got to talk about sisterhood and how our relationships developed and
know.
how
Oh,
we
yeah,
hold
we
each
have
other
to do that.
accountable.
We sure did.
Oh, yeah.
Community.
And
Community,
that
yeah.
whole community. So
I think they also. I know it because we do go deeper into it and be able to seek understanding. Like, you know, when I initially opened up saying, you know, where I was and I fumbled the ball, and then we said, oh no.
Yeah.
And then you seek understanding and you listen.
And then I heard what you were
I'm
saying.
saying. Right. Yeah.
Everybody needs that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that. That's my walk in life because I have been blessed to have that. Some, you know, I have. But I also think it's because I'm open to it as well, and I'm open
Right.
to be that. So, all right. Okay. All right, I'm going to close us out.
Okay.
But I'm going to close us out in affirmation.
Okay.
You know, when we opened up talking about death and the death of our parents, one of the things that that a father does to a daughter is he affirms her. He gives her that this is who you are, that stamp. This is who you are. This is who you will be. You know, mothers, they validate it, but that dad, that fatherly, that male figure, he affirms that girl. You know, that's why it's very important for our fathers to say it's okay. Your hips are okay. Your behind is okay. Your breasts are okay.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
before another one does.
Right. Right.
You know, my
exactly.
first date was with my dad. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Right.
that was
That's
okay.
yeah.
But I want us to be able to say it together that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are fearfully
And wonderfully made.
I've had to take that scripture and put that in my bra for years to remind myself that I am fearfully and wonderfully made with my flaws, when I was rejected or overlooked, that I wasn't a mistake, that I was fearfully and wonderfully made.
Wow.
What she said.
What
What
she
she
said.
said.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Until
Thank
next time.
you. Until next time.